Hello, beautiful people. This is Celia Motweni Zengele. If you're coming across this YouTube channel for the first time, please subscribe and set the notification bell and like this video, please. If you are a return subby, you do know how much you are appreciated for your presence on this channel, your visibility with the comments, and all the data and time that you're spending watching my videos. And to all the new subscribers, thank you so much for choosing to subscribe on this channel and leave the comments in the comment section. I really do love engaging with you in the comment section. And to all my day one subscribers, thank you that you chose to be here and you are still here even now. Your unwavering support is highly appreciated. Now, today I want to come to a story that I've been wanting to do. This is story time, guys, and I'm gonna drink a cold drink for this one. I really do need some cold drink. It's not alcohol, it is cold drink. It's a bit long. I hope you've got time. I'll try to shorten it, or maybe I'll make it into part 2. So if it cuts somewhere, don't be surprised. I will do a part 2 in which I finish up the story so that it doesn't get to be unnecessarily long. I do know that you guys want to watch the shorts, and the shorts are the in thing. They are the new TikTok. Okay, fine. As described in the heading space, you must have realized that I wanted to talk about my experience of having to resign. Why did I resign in the teaching job that I was at recently, which is this year, January. This story starts in 2020, but I want to give you a short background as to where did I come from with that school. Okay, I had started working at that particular school in 2008. So this year would have been my 2008 would have been 14 years. So I can safely say I had 13 years experience at the school. Fine. I started at that school while it was still a Model C and a former Model C school, when it was still majority of white teachers that were working there, when it was still an environment in which some of the teachers still had that little racist remarks that they would make and actions, and slowly they warmed up to us as the black staff. When I started, it was only the 5 black teachers there, up to now recently, when the majority of the employees or the majority of the staff at the school was black, because as soon as slowly the white teachers were leaving, in their place more black staff came in, and the school grew as well. It started as small. I think when we arrived there, it was something like between 500 and 600 learners, and it grew from there to a point where when I left, it was 1,000 and something learners at the school. So it was growing. Besides it being growing, even the white educators were leaving the school. The white learners were leaving the school. It ended up being almost 99% black learners that were at the school. I'm not doing this video to maybe focus more on the dynamics of the color. No, I'm just stating facts as they are, as they were at the school when I was there. Now, we saw the school getting the first black principal. In 2019, the school had the very first black principal after years and years. The school, I think, had started in 1948. That was the year it was opened and operating for the first time. But in 2019, it did see its very first black principal. Fine. Now, coming to 2020, in February 2020, just before COVID, then what happened was, around the schoolyard, I was moving from one class to another or something like that. I can't remember whether it was break or what, but I do know that it must have been either break or change of periods when I am approached by one of the girls. She was 15 at the time. It was a high school, by the way. This girl was 15, and then she said to me, "Ma'am, may I please speak to you?" I gave her an ear, and then she told me about a teacher that was making sexual harassment advances to her, and she felt very uncomfortable, and she asked that I speak to that educator. You see, because of my background as a gender-based violence activist, I was not just that outside the schoolyard, because I'm very vocal. I've got platforms like Facebook, in which some learners would come across, some parents would come across. Like, it was a well-known thing that I'm a gender-based violence activist, which happened to be because of the experience of what happened to myself and my child. I ended up being invested in that space, and I was the advocate of girl safety, women's safety, children's safety, everywhere I am, whether it's in school, whether it's outside of school. So it was a well-known fact. So I guess it makes sense that a learner would have approached me to tell me that. Besides, I wasn't the only teacher that these children felt comfortable to talk about such matters with. They were telling other teachers that they were comfortable with as well. But maybe because of what I'm going to tell you, then that could be the reason why I ended up being more of a target. And then this child tells me this, and then she tells me that, "Ma'am, please talk to him. Tell him that these actions are making me uncomfortable, and I'm not the only one." I said, "Okay, who else?" And then she tells me who else is complaining about the similar thing. This teacher would make a certain gesture with his tongue, and it would make them feel like he wants to, so it made them uncomfortable. Okay, fine. So will that other learner talk? She said, "I don't know. I'll speak to her as well." And I said, "Okay." And then she says something like, "But please don't tell him it's me. Just tell him that he needs to stop what he's doing, because he's not just doing that to me, so he would know, even though he doesn't know that it's me, but just know that what he's doing is not right." And then I told her that, you know what, it's gonna be difficult to tell him without me mentioning who is this child that he makes them feel uncomfortable, because he's gonna deny it. So I'm gonna look like I'm just making up stories. So go and think about this, and think about you having to own up to reporting him, because without a name, we can't carry the case forward, unfortunately. And she said she will go and think about it. Then, in the meantime, I thought, because it was not the first time we heard of such rumors, but it was the first time that it came to me directly. So I thought, okay, what can be done about this? That's when I thought, let me go and speak to the deputy principal there. The deputy principal was female. So I thought, you know what, if I approach her, and she was more or less the same age as me, maybe we can come up with a solution together as to how best can we deal with the situation, and how best can we convince more learners to come and speak, as this learner has suggested, has insinuated that there are more than just her. And I go to her, and when I go to her, guess what? I tell her, she decides to go straight to the principal. The principal is male, by the way. Okay, no problem. Although I felt a bit, I must tell the truth, I felt a bit uncomfortable with that, because of some reasons that we'll find out later. Why I was not comfortable to go directly to the principal. We'll just cover later when I'm busy talking. So, she takes me to the principal and tells the principal that I've said this, so I must repeat what I've said to her. I felt betrayed, I don't want to lie. And I did. Now I find the principal swinging in a chair. He was sitting in a chair that swings. You know, these roundabout chairs. These that revolve 360, a revolving chair. He revolved like a child on a chair. I'm talking about a 30-something, but he was in his early 30s. I'm talking about an early 30s man rounding on a table, looking at us like, these magogos. You're not serious. Can you really bring that to the... He did not say that, but his action was saying that. Okay, fine. I end up telling him, okay, he swirled on a chair and asked us, what do you think must happen? Okay. Hi, being put on the spot, I had to come up with a plan. Then I told them what I'm thinking could help in the situation. I said, because I told him what the child has told me, but I did also tell him that the child does not want to be known at that particular juncture. And I suggested that, you know what, since it's the beginning of the year, and ever since the beginning of the year, there was no induction that was done for the year. So I was suggesting that we have an induction meeting. In that induction meeting, we all being addressed as to the code of ethics in teaching for the old teachers and the new teachers, so that we are all reminded as to the code of ethics. It's not like we don't know them, but just a reminder. And I thought that teacher can, okay, maybe read between the lines that his actions are spoken about. Oh, principal was like, okay, that's a great idea. He ordered the deputy principal to arrange for that induction. That induction was done the following week. It was certainly done the following week. Now, here's the interesting part. In that induction, that's where we got to hear for the first time, officially, because we had heard that somewhere along the corridors, but it was like a rumor until he confirmed, the principal himself, that he himself had a sexual harassment case in 2019. And it was dealt with and what. So he used his experience to warn the teachers, the new male teachers, as to what to say to learners, what not to say to learners, and what landed him in trouble. He said the learner felt uncomfortable with what he had earlier said to the learner, and a case was made for him, but then it was dealt with. Okay, fine. We now got an idea that, okay, and maybe it wasn't that bad because he's still there. If it was bad, he wouldn't still be there. So we took his word for it. Fine. That Lena, I did not go back to her. She did not come to me after that meeting. I was waiting for her to come, because remember I said to her she need to think about not what needs to be done. She needs to think about her name being used to report this matter, because there was just no way you can report the matter without reporting the learner. I could not just attack a teacher and talk about this. I won't lie, there was also a bit of biasness with me as well, because the teacher in question was one of the teachers, as much as he was younger, very much younger. He was taking good strides in terms of academics. He was studying, he was even doing masters at the time. I always used to say to her, you are inspiring me, because I've had honors and that I had been planning to do masters, but I told him he was inspiring me to go and study masters. We used to talk about that. Okay, fine. Now, when I hear this about him, there is some sense of disbelief that, man, can it be this person? Can he jeopardize what he has, what he's working so hard for, with such acts? It seemed almost like impossible. But that's the human mind. That's how we operate. Whenever we know people on a personal level, whenever we know people's achievements, whenever we know people's achievements, their level, we feel like, no, they cannot jeopardize what they have with such trivial things. We feel like, no, these things are too trivial to be jeopardized, to be jeopardizing their hard work and their everything, their well-known status. We think that, and we are thinking wrong. We are proven wrong so many times, but hey, we never cease to amaze ourselves by these people that we trust too much. Fine, okay. I did not go to the learner. The learner did not come to me, but the induction did happen. And in my small mind, I thought that was enough to scare him out of his bad actions, if he is truly doing the actions. Did I have a doubt? A little doubt was there. But as much as I was in disbelief, I knew the possibility of that thing to happen was there as well. COVID started. When COVID started, schools closed. You remember we closed very, very long in 2020. And we reopened sometime along in August. That year, schools reopened. As schools reopened, this particular learner goes to another teacher to report to the other teacher that Mem Zengele don't see her as she's calling herself a gender-based violence activist. There's no such a thing. I reported a matter to her of a teacher that is sexually harassing me, but she did not do anything about it up until now. And that teacher came to me came to me and told me that this Lena says she reported such a matter and you didn't do anything about it. I felt so ashamed at myself for not having done anything about it. I felt so bad. I decided, let me rectify things. Let me go back to her and ask her this time, how does she want the matter to be dealt with? And I also reminded her that the first time she did not want to be known, but if this matter is to go anyway, she'll have to be identified. And she was like, this time, no ma'am, I'm ready, it's fine. He can be told it's me, I don't mind. Okay, fine. After her giving me permission, it was like more of a coincidence, because one of the Lena gets into my inbox on Facebook and says, ma'am, I would like to talk to you in person. And then she comes and talks to me and tells me that actually now in my case there are 3 teachers that are bothering me. 3. She felt like they had made a pact or they had made a bet as to who will get her, because the 3 of them were bothering her. And of the 3, it's not that first teacher. So now I have a collection of 4 teachers that are suspected to be sexually harassing the learners. I thought, okay, fine, now I'll have to act Noma Ganjan. So I spoke to the first child and the second child that we need to involve the parents. The first child was reluctant to involve the parent because she refused when I suggested that let me speak to your mother and tell her what you told me, so that at least when we take this matter forward, it becomes a joint venture between me and her. Because as much as I'm the teacher, I'm just the witness as to what you told me. The parent is still the person that must be in front in this matter when it is reported. And I take the role of the witness that yes, you did tell me on this date and you did complain on this date and we spoke again about this matter. The child stopped me from talking to the mother. I think she knew why. She knew the kind of a mother her mother was, because she refused. She said she will speak. She begged me not to talk to her mother. She will speak to her mother herself. But in the meantime, I took these 2 matters. They are 2 matters, but they are involving 4 teachers to the principal, that I've had a complaint like this and I've had a complaint like this. And the parents of the other Lena came. That Lena had a difficulty as well to tell her parents, but she asked me to tell her on her behalf. We did that even before we go and report to the principal. So then when I report to the principal, I did even tell him that other Lena, I'm waiting. The child did not give me permission to involve the parent, but just know that there is something like this. Whoa. I left something. Of the 4 teachers, 1 of them happens to be my friend. When I say my friend, I mean a friend that is the closest. He is young, but he is that kind of a friend that is not discriminative as to I'm just gonna befriend or people my age. He was my friend with the other friend that I already had. He was our closest friend. He was the person that knew my children's birthdays and that would gift my children on their birthdays. He was that person. A person that would sing on your birthday, would sing a birthday song for you on the phone, will call you just to sing a birthday song on the phone. He was that kind of a friend. And what did I do? Bias, as always. Before I take the matter to the principal, I took the matter to him and told him that the child has complained about you. This is what you have done. And as much as he denied, he did admit to something. he did admit to something, even though he did not totally agree that he sexually harassed the child. But he just said, okay, such a conversation did happen. And whatever conversation he admitted to already was like, it's not, even though he did not see anything wrong with it, but it was inappropriate. And me and the other friend, we did tell him that was inappropriate. Okay, it looked like he understood how inappropriate it was, but after the three of us split, guess what? He called me now directly and told me that and complained. So actually I was supposed to have, I don't know what did he expect of me, because I think me going to him, telling him what the child had said about him already was biased on its own, even before I report the others to the principal. He accused me of so many things. Like, I want to mess up with his marriage, I want to mess up with his work, all those things. How does that happen now? Okay, fine. We go to the principal. Now, going to the principal, we get to the principal, I tell him, and the parents of the one child are there as well. Now, there comes trouble. The principal wanted the matter to stop right there, to be dealt with in his office. He even suggested I leave, that my portion of the work is done. I reported it's fine, so I can leave, and the parents should stay behind. They will sort it out. They will sort the matter out with the affected teachers. And guess what? That sorting out meant? It meant this teacher will have to, these teachers will have to like do something to apologize to the parents. Do something to apologize to the parents. And I am grateful for the father. At that particular time, he did not hesitate to say, I want this matter to be taken to the district. Please. I want this matter to be dealt with fully so. I'm grateful to him at that particular time, because they did get to him later on. But at that particular time, he was like, no. This is not gonna happen. And guys, let me come to the reason why I am making this video on my side is I want to create an awareness to parents. When you take your children to school, please talk to your children. Do not assume that you are taking your child to a safe place. I do know that naturally we don't think about the things that are happening in primary schools, in high schools. We take them as safe spaces for our children. And remember, that is where our children are taking the longest time. Guys, our children are not safe in schools. The pedophiles are everywhere. The pedophiles are in your house. As I have spoken that I was living with a pedophile. And if I was living with a pedophile, and I know many women that are living with pedophiles, chances are there are other pedophiles that are hiding. The reason why I'm saying this is so that you can check out if there isn't any pedophile hiding in your home. I'm doing this particular video to make you aware, to check thoroughly your child is well at school or not. How safe is your child or not? Because you need to find out if there aren't any pedophiles hiding at your child's school. Because there are so many pedophiles at every corner, and we always tell our children about stranger danger. We forget to tell our children about familiar danger. Danger lurks around us everywhere. It even lurks in schools, guys. I will carry on with part 2 of the story. This is the end of part 1. I will take you from here forward in part 2. In the meantime, like this video, because it will help this video to be flagged, so that the YouTube can recommend it to other people, because believe me, this needs to be known.